Hello, magical people. My name is Lou, and I have no idea what I'm going to talk about. So, hopefully, people will show up and give me something to interact with so I don't have to ramble too long all on my own. It's funny, I keep notes, well, in a few different places, for different ideas to make videos about. And I even consulted them beforehand, and I don't know, it's weird. It's maybe this is just perfectionism, but I feel like the things that I kind of most sort of want to talk about, the things that I feel like are uh, most integral parts of myself or would maybe be the most vulnerable, which I kind of believe is part of my challenge to bring out the parts that are most vulnerable. There's a part of me that like has this weird feeling like I can only do it once. And since it is something that's important to me, I have to do it perfectly, or I have to at least do it quite well. And so all of these ideas that I have, well, and I say all of it's not like it's pages, but a few things like um, I got my first really hateful comment yesterday, so that was something that I jotted down yesterday. The journey of how I came to be known as Lou, and how that morphed into a further journey of finding my own name, I guess, forever name, if you will. And let's see what else is on that list. Weirdly, one of the other things on that list are some. There's this Eminem, of all people, Eminem song that has every now and again there's just like a song that really speaks to me, and there have been several over the years. And of late, there's this one that's Eminem song that's basically about kind of burning down your past in a way, and sort of standing amidst the chaos and fire of it all just happening. And that's, I kind of feel like a pretty good metaphor for the last few years of my life. Um, there's been a lot of retraction of things. There's also been a lot of expansion in other realms, but there's just been a lot of loss and moving away from old things. And so yeah, so anyways, I have all these ideas, but yet there's this block or something that may or may not be perfectionism, or at least is probably in part perfectionism, that just keeps me from actually making the leap to doing it. I don't know. I was really hoping that by the time I was done with that small little preamble that somebody would have showed up and been chatting with me, but no dice. So I guess I'll have to try and think of something else to say on my very own. Came, oh, hummingbirds. I see two little hummingbirds sitting on the wire outside the window. That's pretty cool. I also saw one this morning that was visiting this row of gladioluses. Gladioluses? Gladiolas? I'm not sure the correct way to pluralize gladiolus. Gladioluses? I don't know. Anyways, whatever they're called. There was a hummingbird that was going down a whole line of them, and it was real cute. And I tried to take out my phone to video it, but I guess that's when I realized that my window is kind of dirty. So I should probably maybe do something about that. But by the time I kind of like got outside and was, stealthy and sneaky enough to not scare the hummingbird away, it had moved on to a different part of the yard. So missed the boat on that. But yeah, shit. whole 5 minutes and 4 seconds of just me talking about kind of nothing. What have I got to say? What have I got to say to the world this evening? I don't know. I feel like it's been a little bit of a having a little bit of a rough spell in a few ways, I guess. Not that things are all bad. There's lots of wonderful things, lots of beautiful things in my life, for which I am deeply grateful. But it's also just a particular prolonged period of realignment and challenge, and I'm not gonna lie, sometimes it really gets me down. And my favorite squirrel buddy, the one who started it all, Stubby, Lady Stubbington of the Fallen Birch, and many other honorifics that I can't remember. She is no longer in this world, and it took me quite some time to come around to that. It's funny, I met her in, for sure, 2019, but maybe before that. She came to be known as Stubby because there was this one day I was sitting in the backyard, and every now and again I'd see squirrels. There used to be this huge tree in the backyard, and there was this one that scampered down, and they all kind of looked alike to me at the time, so I didn't really differentiate them from one another. So I don't even know if it was several squirrels that I was seeing or just one busy one for a while. But then one day, this squirrel in the yard had its tail was like broken in half, and half of it was dangling. And didn't know what to do about it, just saw her kind of running across the yard with this broken tail, and made note of it and was like, oh gosh, am I gonna have to figure out what to do about that? Am I gonna have to do anything about that? And then a couple days later, I started seeing the squirrel with just half a tail. And 2019 was a different world, I think, for everybody, and certainly I'm no exception to that. So I think part of the sadness of losing her, actually, I'm jumping ahead of myself in the story. I'm just sorry, I'm not a natural storyteller for anybody who rewatches this. So then a couple days later, the squirrel shows up that just has half a tail, and I start realizing that it's the same squirrel that I'm seeing all the time, like every day. And I start calling her Stubby because she's the one squirrel that I can tell from all of the other ones, because she only has half a tail. And so she stands out from the crowd. And, she had real big eyes. It's funny now that I'm several years deep into feeding the squirrels. I can tell them apart a lot more, and some of them do have distinctly bigger eyes than others, and Stubby was one with the big eyes. And she also did this weird little thing. I've never heard other squirrels do it except on occasion, but she did it all the time, and perhaps it was just a genetic blip of some sort, or maybe she had hay fever, who knows. But she would always sneeze, not like a hachoo, like a full sneeze, like a human, but it just kind of sounded like a little exhale out of her nostrils. And she'd do it all the time. And I saw this little creature dang near every day. I saw her move babies from the, what is that called? From the lilac that is on my neighbor's property, which is like 12 feet away. She moved them from there to the birch tree that was in my backyard, one at a time. The first one that I saw, the first baby I saw her carrying, I didn't even realize it was a baby squirrel. I was like, what is wrong with that squirrel's head? And then I realized when she came back for the second and the third ones that she was just moving house. And so she moved into my tree. And then in 2020, um, that tree died. Story for another day, because that's definitely going to make me cry. Um, and, I kind of left the tree, even though it was dead, stand for another year, even knowing it was dead, because I just kind of couldn't bear the thought of it being cut down. But then there was a windstorm, and a huge branch fell down and smashed a glass table on the patio. And I had a housemate at the time, and this was also like 10 days before I was having what turned out to be both a memorial during the day and then a huge Halloween party, only giant party I've ever thrown. But, we were concerned with the windy weather we were having that maybe there would be more branches, and we didn't want anybody hurt, my housemate and myself. And my housemate at the time, rather. And so, I let the landlord know that there was a dead tree in the backyard, and so they came to cut it down. And oh, Stubby was so angry. She stood on the peak of the front porch, the roof over the front porch, for like an hour and a half, and just yelled at me after the tree people finally left. And yeah, I just pretty much sat in the yard and sobbed, because I was a damn mess that day. I was a damn mess for most of that year, and quite a bit of the following year. Still kind of am, if I'm being honest with myself. So yeah, so then she moved to another tree. I'm not entirely sure which one it was, but it was across the street and down a couple of houses. But I still saw that little squirrel damn near every day. And there was a time earlier this year when I didn't see her for like 5 days, and I was just inconsolable. And then she showed back up, and I realized that it was just bad timing. Sometimes she shows up really early, sometimes she's in the afternoon, and I'm a people. Sometimes I leave the house on occasion. and I was overjoyed. And then in May, I had this idea to start keeping a squirrel log. And I kept it for 2 days. So that's why I know, because I remember it had been a day or two since I'd seen her, after I'd noted it down in the log. The log. It's not really a log, it's only 2 pages, I suppose. But, I was in the side yard picking arnica, harvesting some arnica, and she came around to find me, and I was so happy to see her. I gave her a bunch of peanuts, and now, no word of a lie, not only has this squirrel been in my house, but before the newest round of squirrels, and I also had a housemate with a dog for a while, but I used to kind of leave this one window open, and she'd just come in and help herself to a few peanuts. She was never disrespectful or anything like that. She planted me a few peanuts, one of which I still have. Actually, I'm gonna go get that to show you all. So this is both a little bit of a birch tree from one of the seeds from the birch tree that used to be out back. And then this is a peanut plant that Stubby planted me. And, but she was really special. She really was. There's on my front porch this one like small piece of furniture, and she would like to kind of take her peanuts underneath there, so that her back was kind of in a corner, and she was sort of covered, like she was bold and meek and a little bit afraid. And maybe because that's so much a part of my psyche, those aspects, I notice them in other creatures, and I feel drawn to those creatures and protective of them, and a kinship, I guess, with them. I feel the same thing for my cat Mooch, and she's such a scaredy cat, but she's so dang brave and bold sometimes, but most of the time, oh, she's just so scared of just everything. And Stubby had some of that to her. She was very gentle. She was very sweet. So I knew it had been quite a while since I'd seen her, but it wasn't until a couple of weeks ago that I decided to open the notebook, my failed attempt at a squirrel log, because I knew that it had been within just a few days of starting that project that had been the last time that I'd seen her in the side yard. And I realized that that was mid-May. And at that point, it was, the middle of July, or getting to be the middle of July. And, after 4 or 5 years of seeing her nearly every day of my life, one just cannot deny the reality that that many days in a row means that my friend has moved on to another world. And that's sad. And here I still am, totally by myself. So, anyhow, that's the story of Stubby. And today when I got home from work, there was a squished squirrel on the side of the road, kind of almost in front of my house. And so now I'm just wondering, which of my other little friends, to whom I was not as close as Stubby, but which of my other little friends will I not see in the coming days? And don't get me wrong, this is not a reason to close one's heart. Because as much as I miss her, and as much as I miss the me, and the awareness that existed when I first met her, because like I said, it was a very different time in my life. The enjoyment I got those years far surpasses the grief I feel right now. It's just that the grief is intense and short, and all of that joy and silliness watching her and feeding her and kind of getting to know her, that was over the course of years. And so it feels more, because it is more diluted, it feels like the intensity of the sadness is greater than the intensity of the joy. And I think that's often something that we experience in grief, whether it's a friend of a human nature or not, or a family member or loved one. I think that sometimes the pain of grief can be so intense that there is a gut defense mechanism that almost calls on you to say never again. But I don't think that's it. And, if anybody ever does watch this, and it's anybody who knows any of my story at all, then you'll know the deep power of what I'm about to say. But one thing that Nairi always said was just keep your heart open. Just promise no matter what, you'll keep your heart open. And I knew in the moment that was a giant ask. And it's hard to keep your heart open when, it's kind of like when we are hurt, we want to coil around that pain. And I think there's maybe different motivations for why we do that. For myself, I think part of emotion or motivation for keeping it in and keeping it close um, is because I don't want to impact anybody else with my feelings, especially negative ones. But I think it's also because it's the same thing we do when we hurt ourselves. You hurt your hand or your wrist, hold it close to yourself and you keep it close. So it feels counterintuitive, even if it's an emotional wound, to be like, no, heart open, here I am. Bring me more. Bring me more opportunities for future pain. Because it's kind of guaranteed, right? And it sometimes feels like a steep price, but it's still one I think worth paying. All of the deepest losses in my life only feel like deep losses because they were such grand gifts to begin with. And so there's like the emotional snapback of having that gift no longer be available. So anyhow, yeah, here I am. I don't know. Literally don't know. Well, that was maybe cathartic. I don't know. There are times when well, I don't want to go down the sad rabbit hole with y'all tonight. With y'all, with myself. um, I didn't mean for it to get so intense. I guess there's been I've mentioned to a few people the whole stubby thing, and nobody did anything wrong, of course. Everybody, I mean, the few people that I mentioned it to are truly lovely, truly people that I love. But I think this is something that humans often do to one another especially when they're feeling sad, is it's hard to watch somebody that you care about be sad. And so there's this need to minimize it or change it and make it better somehow. And, so I think one person mentioned something about, don't be sad, squirrels don't live a long time anyways, and you got her for several years, which is true. I don't actually even remember right now what the other person said, but it was something that was, again, kind of not being successful in seeing where I was at that time. and not, like, I guess what I was really wanting is for somebody to be like, that sucks, I'm really sorry you lost your friend. But it's hard to do that because then, you know, like I said, when we see people that we like and care about hurting, we just want to make it stop somehow. And so I think there's a part of me that's been kind of yearning to have some sort of memorial type thoughts for Stubby. Have it at the top because it to update live. Oh, a few people are in there. I'm not sitting here by myself. I don't know how to do that. Thank you for texting me. I really appreciate it. Okay, I thought I did the same thing as I did before, but apparently I did not. Oh shit, okay, so wait, why is that? Okay, let me go back to here. Why is, oh shit, well now I'm a little embarrassed that people have been here while I've been all fucking sad and weepy on my own. So thanks guys. Now I feel embarrassed. How do I do that? No? Oh my god, it's so fucking small. Okay, I'm gonna do that. Actually read it. Yeah, I'm an idiot. I'm sorry. I'm real new to this. At Rust Valley, yeah. Yeah, it does. It hurts when we lose. I mean, critters, I'm just going with friend now, because ultimately, I don't think so, that she's just bringing up babies. I used to see her all the time when she brought up, when she had previous babies, so I don't think so. Yeah, I mean, it's not the most imaginative name. It's really not. Aww. Yes, Blow Pony. Blow Pony was the dance party I went to, and I just fucking love this t-shirt, even though it's pink, which you guys might guess. Oh, wait, where the fuck am I doing? Is this one here? Oh, sorry. Sorry. Okay, so, yeah, oh, no, wrong way. This is the Blow Pony shirt. Only time I will ever probably wear a shirt with a picture of a man's chest on it, but I really liked that it, I mean, okay, first of all, the lighting of the place, I didn't know it was pink until the next day. Ooh. I actually thought that it was like a light gray or maybe like a khaki color, and I even said to the lady that I bought it from, I usually don't buy khaki colored tops because it makes me feel like I look naked from more than 15 feet away because my skin is kind of khaki color. But I like this one because it says fierceness, faggotry, and fuckery. And I like the alliteration, and I like individually each of those words, and all put together, they just are kind of are emotive in a way that I appreciate. Stubby, yeah. Why does this look so weird? And why it's so fucking small? I have an eye appointment this week, guys. I haven't been to the eye doctor in a while. These glasses are ones that I got, I think, in like 2018. And I'm 48, so like I definitely need better progressives because by the end of the night I cannot, like sometimes if I need to read something on my phone, it's just actually easier to take my glasses off and get my phone really close to my face because the progressives are just not cutting it anymore. You know what, maybe I should just read the stream. Here, I'll move this all to the bottom. Maybe. Nope. Why won't you scroll? Oh, because I need to scroll on the other screen. Good fucking Christ. TE Polar, anybody? Is this even TE Polar? Is this what my problem is, or is it some other deficiency? Chat is frozen. Okay. Thank you guys for showing up, by the way. Oh, yeah, I bet your kitty's hot. Are you guys getting awful hot weather up there? Portland's actually been unbelievably lovely this last week. I think we're getting to around 80. Yeah. That might be a good title. Yeah, Nairi's missed, Stubby's missed, Pam's missed, my tree's missed. A lot of shit to miss. A lot of shit to miss. I know. Good God. If I'd have known you guys would hear, I would have just totally just stopped. Yammering on, but I guess I needed. Oh, bye, Jonathan. Thank you so much. I mean, you're already gone, I'm sure, but thank you so much for sending a text. I'll shoot you one later. Oh, hi, Rachel. Hi. Oh, hi, Miss Fortune. Thank y'all for being here. I kind of think it's a cool shirt, too. I mean, again, not super stoked about the pink, but whatever. Huh. I do have a feather with a hat. I mean, reverse that. I have a hat with a feather. Oh, shit. Oh, Miss Fortune had a dream, too? Gotta try to dredge up that, because I kind of forgot. Yeah, I feel ya. I'm not particularly good at remembering them. Smoking weed probably doesn't help, but even when I was a kid, like long before I ever even knew what marijuana was, I always struggled to remember them. Whoa. Wait, what? Irrational temperament. Yeah. That would be nice. It would be nice if the feelings were, just less. I mean, honestly, like, and I know I've said this before, but I had no idea. Like, I just had no idea I was capable of the amount of, like, just producing the literal amount of tears that my body has produced in the last few years. Like, it's kind of bananas. All right, I'm going to try and fix this. I want to see if I can, how do I make this bigger? Bigger. How do you get bigger? And less, like, weirdly stretched out. Nope. Alright, well, I just don't know how to fucking do that. Oh well. Yeah, it's really wild. Like after, actually, I did have an eye appointment in 2020 because maybe it was even early 2021, but a few months after my aunt and then Nairi and then the tree, I started having, I can't remember what they're called, optical migraines maybe? But basically migraines that they didn't really hurt, but it was like looking underwater and it kind of freaked me out. So I made an eye appointment and they basically, I don't know, they went away. They said it was probably just the stress and just everything that was going on Oh, is that how we do that? I know that makes it that way, but I'm gonna make it just skinnier this way. Alright, so now how do we make that fucking bigger? Okay, no, that's kind of just make that bigger that way. Oh, Jesus, where's Genzen? Although it wouldn't help because I probably wouldn't even understand somebody trying to give me written instructions. But yeah, it's amazing what how many tears the body can produce. And I remember seeing. I'm gonna turn on some lights because it's getting kind of grainy for y'all. But I remember reading this one article about how different kinds of tears have some sort of different structure to them. Like tears that are happy actually look different under a microscope than tears that are sad. I might not 100% be remembering that correctly, so it's probably best not to quote me, but yeah. Oh wait, hang on. Alright, I need to have this one open so that I can read it. Yeah, because that's bigger. Okay. Yeah, no, nothing can prepare you for it. Yeah, and you, Rachel, you and Eric are coming up on an anniversary pretty soon. It's in August, right? Um, and even when you are prepared, you're not prepared. Like, like my aunt, for example, she didn't die from cancer. I just want to say that right off. She didn't die from cancer, but she had cancer a bunch of times. I think I was in my late teens or early 20s the first time that she got cancer. She got breast cancer. And so, I guess I should have expected it in some way, but I didn't. And that kind of especially sucked because she had just gotten the all clear from her oncologist that things were looking good. And then it was I think, I don't remember exactly the technical term, but I think a massive stroke is, which was not in our family history at all, so that was surprising. But even when you can prepare for it, it's not real until it's real, you know? But yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to get so. I didn't really have the intention for this stream to get just be all fucking sad. Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's I'm coming up on. It'll be September is when my anniversaries kind of start, and this year is going to be 3 years. Which I literally just realized that the other day. I mean, I knew that, but I just kind of, I don't know, for some reason I was thinking it was going to be 2 years, and then I had this moment where I realized that no, it was 3 years. And it just kind of like, it's bananas. It's just bananas. Wait, when I move this, does it change things there? No, it kind of makes it wiggle, but okay. Mitch McConnell froze on camera today? He may have had a mini stroke. Whoa! Oh, I hear ya. No worries, Misfortune. Thank you so much for showing up. And yeah, I'm sending big hearts and hugs and sparkly things right back to you, too. Mitch McConnell, wow, yeah, I did. I mean, I kind of peeked at the news a little bit today. Today was an in-office day for me today, so, usually I kind of listen to news while I'm working, which I did a little bit, but it's just harder to do in the office because, there's other people and noises and distractions and whatnot. So I didn't hear, I didn't hear anything about that, but 32 seconds? Wait, I keep losing my fucking screen that has the chat that's big enough for me to read. There we go. Wow. Wow. That's, yeah, I mean, I'm not really a super big fan of Mitch McConnell, obviously. Um, oh, interesting. Okay, I'm just noticing that YouTube gave me an error about needing to change the video resolution. But I don't know how to do that either, and obviously you guys can see me, so we're just gonna say it's fucking good enough. Um, wow, that is not one of the pieces of news. I heard about the fucking ocean in Florida, which made me feel very scared and nervous. Not sure if you've read anything about that, Winston's mom, but yeah, the ocean in Florida was measured at 100 degrees, and there were lots of reports, particularly people who, are hobbyists or scientists that are interested in the coral reef, um, kind of going to check on their favorite spots, and it looks like there's some reef die off that's happening, which is not surprising because the water does not usually get that warm. And then I heard the other thing about the what is the oh fuck it's AMOC, Atlantic, I think Atlantic Meridian Ocean. No. I can't remember what it stands for, but basically the cycle where because heat rises, and it's similar with water. So water towards the surface tends to be warmer, and then cool water, it's sort of ocean cycling. Is that what is it? Was it the Meridian Ocean Cycle? I don't know if that what it stands for. Oh, I could check, but whatever, it's fine. But it looks as though they had originally said that it was possible by like 2100 that cycle would start to be disrupted, and now they're saying that it's more likely that we'll see that AMOC cycle disrupted between 2025 and 2039, which is basically just going to have an impact on pretty much everything that happens in the ocean space. So that's a little intimidating. Why did it do the thing again where it didn't? Oh, okay, I see what I did here. So yeah, I caught a little bit of the news, but I definitely didn't catch that thing about Mitch McConnell. Yeah, obviously his politics are fucking atrocious as far as I'm concerned, but, human to human, don't get me wrong, I want the fucking guy to retire or be voted out or whatever, but I certainly don't want any wish any ill will on his health. Yeah, fucking T, polar circles, that shit is real. Yeah. Oh. Oh, wow. Less than a decade. When you say he gives Florida less than a decade, what do you mean by that? Overturning circulation. Thank you. Ocean cycle. Not even close. Why would it be Atlantic and ocean? That would have just been a stupid name. But yeah, I'm curious what he meant by gives Florida less than a decade. Does he mean ocean, like the rise? Kind of overtaking the landmass because they're so close to sea level? Yeah, yeah, exactly. There was a uh, yeah, okay, so they mean the ocean rising. Okay. I didn't know if they were talking about just in terms of, really hectic, chaotic weather that was going to be just super destructive, or, I mean, that's also going to happen. But yeah, it was, yeah, kind of a tough news day. I did not watch any coverage of it, but I heard a couple people commenting on the alien thing, and it seems like um, nobody's really thinking that that's actually a thing. So I don't know if that's disappointing or not because like when I think the guy was saying that like something about how like yeah, humans have been killed, and like, you know, the aliens are in some sort of agreement with the government. But basically, it didn't sound like these aliens that he was talking about were particularly nice. So that being the case, I hope that it's not true, because I don't know. I would prefer good aliens who are going to be benevolent. Um, but yeah, yeah. I mean, it's bad 6 ways to Sunday in terms of the climate, and it's just, yeah, that's true. That's a good point. Um, yeah. Yeah, I knew what you mean. It didn't ruin the sentence. I knew exactly what you were getting at. I read it the way you intended. um, so yeah, you're right. I mean, and what is nice, like if I mean, if we are, from whose perspective, like, I guess is the question. You know, because like if there were aliens observing life on Earth, I would tend to think that we are not particularly impressive as a species, especially on the macro. I think in some ways we are much better on the micro. You know, obviously we have friends, we love our families, we're kind to our neighbors. Like, when you zoom in, I think it's much easier to find the goodness in humanity than when you zoom out, because when you zoom out enough, we're just pretty awful. And so yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's an argument for not wanting aliens to come, just because, like, shame, you know. um, yeah, Twilight Zone. Oh wait, I missed a whole bunch here. Doo-doo-doo. Yeah, yeah, it could be. Yeah, that wasn't that. Was that Futurama, or was that The Simpsons? Um, the aliens that cooked the people. Am I even remembering that right? Yeah, I don't know that I would volunteer to be on the welcoming committee either, and I think it is very likely that if there is first contact, or if there has been, or if there will be, that it probably will be messy. You know, I could almost hope. You know, because like there's such a meme. I don't know where this originated from, but like you know, the aliens show up and say, "Take me to your leader." You know, like, I really hope they don't take, like, I hope they don't go to the leaders. I think that that wouldn't be good for anybody. I think it would probably be best for everybody, aliens and human alike, if the first people they interacted with were not the leaders. I don't know, maybe that's just me having too much faith in, either not enough faith in our leaders and political elite, or too much faith in, you know, the rest of us common folk. But I do tend to think that, I don't know, I don't, especially like our government, I don't trust them to not just kill and dissect something just because it's new and they want to know how it works and what it is. So, but that's just me. I guess I don't have a whole lot of faith in. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's true. Okay, I gotta show you guys. It's okay. So my windows are dirty, but I have to just swing you around here, because like there is a fantastic. Oh no, where'd it go? Where are you? There you go. Really pretty sunset happening out here. And there's some like really cool pink and purple happening in the sky, which you can't see. Oh wait, there we go. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? Ooh. So nice. It is a great view. I see some great fucking sunsets here. I do it again? Did I do the thing again? I might have done the thing again. I did do the thing again. How do I make it so that it stops doing that? You enjoy Alien Arrival disaster movies? Both of you? Oh my goodness. Oh, interesting misfortune. I don't know though, maybe I would get really pumped and be useful. Like when COVID hit, I got a surge of excitement. Not because I'm morbid, but I think because of the shakeup of mundanity. Yeah, there's definitely something to be said for that. And I think maybe, if I'm being super honest, that's one of the appeals of this whole notion of first contact is that it would uh, it would definitely shift the status quo. And there is something appealing about that. I think there's a pretty good chance that um, it would upset the status quo in a way that's not advantageous for us, but yeah, it would definitely be a shift. I heard someone. Where did you hear that, Rachel? Aliens will be like, "Oh, we don't fuck with you." That's funny. It's such a curious thing. Oh, that's very, very kind of you to say, Winston's mom. Oh, hi, Mr. Man. Um, yeah, I am so curious. Oh, hey, Boba Fett. Um, I've not really super looked into like the whole abduction thing. Like, I'm sure it's been like there's been stories around on TV and whatnot for so long that I'm sure that I have uh, like heard more than a few stories here and there, but I've never. It's not one of those things. Maybe when I was a teenager, I kind of got a little into it for a while, and read all sorts of like alien abduction. I feel like there were these books that were maybe it was even grade school or junior high, but there used to be these books that was like a series that was kind of like tiny little encyclopedias. It might have been by Time Life maybe, but and there was like one about um, the Bermuda Triangle and one about aliens and I don't know. There was a whole bunch of like paranormal type uh, things. But hello, OSP. I'm not sure if I've seen your username before, but welcome. Um, yeah, anyhow, so I don't know. Well, I guess part of me is relieved, but part of me is also disappointed that it seems as though that's just a bit of a nothing burger with regards to the aliens. Uh, but it's probably best. It's probably best. So anywho, um, thank you, Winston's mom. Um, so, okay. Oh no, I just went back to the where I could see myself, and my hair was much cuter a while ago, but I think I have touched too much, or maybe being sad ruined it. I don't know. But anyhow, yeah. I feel like I should probably have a better idea of what I want to say if I'm gonna stream. But that's the thing, is that I'll never ever decide. I'll never decide. It's like what I was saying earlier, like I mean, not that anybody was here, but just the perfectionism. The perfectionism sometimes is such a barrier to doing anything, to getting anything done, to even starting something. You know, and it's like there's so much more thought that goes into doing a thing than action that actually goes into just doing the fucking thing. And it's, you know, I'm trying to plow through it. I feel like I'm supposed to be putting something of myself out there, but I'm not really sure exactly what that means. So I'm just like stumbling blind, you know, trying to find a light switch, I guess, or at least a match. But the saying about if you get abducted by aliens, they won't fuck with you, or they won't fuck with anybody if they're in favor of JC. That's interesting. Ooh, I did get, so since you guys are here, I might as well talk about it. I got my first hate comment yesterday, and well, I got two comments that, I got one comment that was definitely a hate comment, like, and it was hateful enough that I was so shocked in the moment that I just deleted and reported it. I should have taken a fucking screenshot of it. And then I spent a few hours last night trying to figure out how to review a deleted comment. And apparently once you delete it, it's just deleted. And I couldn't find any resource that could tell me how to get it back. Not that I wanted to put it back up, but I guess I just wanted to, because I can't even remember what it said. All I know is it said something, it referenced my gender, and definitely said it was threatening and referenced my gender, and my first thought was, oh my god, I don't want anybody else to even see that somebody's put this thought into the world in my space. And so I deleted it right away. But then I got a second comment, like literally like 47 seconds later, from a different user that said something about Lord rebuke you, and it was on one of my tarot shorts. So I thought that was kind of, well, honestly, that one didn't bother me. I didn't block that one. I didn't even delete it. I certainly didn't report it. I actually replied to it and was just like, ha ha ha, I'm good with Jesus and Jesus is good with me. Go slink off somewhere else with your hatred. But yeah, that was, I'm sure there will be more, and maybe next time I'll keep my head a little bit better. Yeah, I will, hopefully. Yeah, I can't, like I said, Winston's Bomb, I can't remember exactly what the comment was, but it said something about gender. I'm pretty sure it had the word disgusting, and it definitely felt very threatening, like when I reported it. I actually went back and forth because there were two options. I was like, I'm not sure if this is hate speech or if this is bullying / harassment, and I don't even remember which one I chose. But yeah, I know they do. I know they get spoofed or trolled, and like I said, you know, this isn't the first time that somebody's made a comment or something. Oh, hi, Mr. Man. Made a comment, you know, sort of implying that there's something unholy or whatever about, you know, tarot. But this one was very much, I think they thought I was trans. I don't know. Like, it was definitely, it was in that category of, like, yeah. So that was interesting and fun. Can you guys see Mr. Man? Hopefully it's not just his ass pointed at the camera. Oh, you can't even see him. Here's Mr. Man. Mr. Man with the giant little teeth and the big purr, who needs to find a forever home that is not here. But yeah, Mr. Man. I've started to kind of like officially think of him as my foster kitty, because I can't claim him as my own, because he's just still kind of a dick to mooching sometimes, and he did also kill that crow, which is not okay and not allowed on the property. What's a blow pony? A blow pony is a dance party that happens in, sounds kind of wrong. Is his Zeophile thing, is the cat safe? Yeah, I'm hoping that you're joking. I'm not sure I know you, and I'm pretty sure I don't know you. So I'm hoping that you're joking, but no, it's a dance party. It's a gay dance party that happens in Portland every month that I've been going to for like over a decade. I don't know where they came from, the name. I'll have to ask Eric, the guy who started it and organizes it, because I'm not really sure where the name came from. But yeah, it's just a big dance party. Cats are gonna cat. I know, it's true, it's true. But crows are big birds, and yeah, I don't know. Oh, wait. Hang on, I missed something. What exactly happened to your hair? You have that whole something about Mary thing going on? Who did that? Okay, so you're being a little sus, OSP, or maybe being just a little rougher than I prefer to be dealt with. Yeah, it's definitely not cum in my hair. That's gross. Especially man cum not getting near my hair. What happened to my hair? Probably, honestly, I don't know. I probably had a couple of hot flashes in the last, like, however long I've been streaming. And I think that probably just did a little bit of a number on the pomade that I have in there. And so usually my little spikies are a bit more cohesive, but I also do like to play with my hair quite a bit. So I think it's like a nervous habit that I do. And so it's gotten screwed up over the course of the eve. No, Boba, sorry, I'm just getting to see your comment now. I do not believe it was anybody from the TWFP crew. It wasn't a username that I was familiar with. I don't think... I can't imagine anybody there coming here and being mean. What does TTE mean? Thank you for being, I guess, protective. Yeah, I know, and I know that's, like, I know that people with unkind things are going to show up, and we'll see. We'll see how I deal with that. I am definitely... You know what's funny, actually? This is so interesting. So, like, I mean, I don't know if I've showed you guys before. I think I've probably showed a couple of you anyways, and maybe I'll send off an email to you at some point if I find any pictures. But, you know, Lou didn't exist prior to 2018. And, you know, I looked pretty much exactly like this, except I wore different clothes and had a different hairstyle, like, and different glasses. So it was, on the one hand, a really radical change, and on the other hand, not a change at all, because it's just clothing and presentation. But it's really funny because, like, in my younger years when I was more, like, femme presenting, and especially, like, before I was out and, you know, I mean, I was married to Andrew for a long time. And, like, during that time, like, I remember he and I used to have an actual, like, running joke where, like, if something would happen, um, you know, he'd say something about, like, I don't know, so, like, sensitivity would come up, and it was like a joke where he'd be like, "Oh yeah, you're a fucking flower. You're so sensitive." Because between the two of us, like, you know, I was just much more, I guess, just pragmatic about things. But I was also obviously really locked down in a lot of ways. You know, really unaware of myself, and as I've become more like, I guess, mask presenting, um, it's kind of allowed me to embrace a lot more of my more, like, what people might traditionally call, like, feminine aspects with regards to, like, emotionality and, like, acknowledging that I, like, have feelings, even to myself, you know, and rather than just kind of, like, repressing all the time. It's the internet. FI6 should not be giving a damn to an extent. I don't know, Boba. I mean, you know, I mean, my thoughts about my own type, I'm always a little waffly on that, so maybe it's not FI6. I don't know. Maybe it is FI6, but it's just a particular period in my life where I've seen so much stripped away, and, and just in this entire realignment process that is apparently my life, I just no longer have the capability to not care about shit like I used to be able to. You know, like, I think a lot less things bothered me when I was younger, but as I've gotten older and actually really deeply tuned in to what my feelings are, or tried to, and I guess come into more open alignment with my actual value structure, I think I've actually become more sensitive to things like that. So I don't know. But also, I mean, and this is where shit gets interesting, and, like, you know, the whole, like, you know, spectrum thing has come up a couple of times, and it's kind of, I don't know, it's got me wondering, like, because it's just, you know, there's just a lot there. Like, the CPTSD, that's just definite. Like, that's just undeniable. Like, just given the, you know, uh, not blaming anything or saying that anybody really even necessarily did anything wrong. But just the, like, nature of my childhood, it's just, you know, the way it is. So, like, I know that CPTSD does impact ego development. And I also know that, like, there was a lot of enmeshment in my family of origin, which, you know, also impacts the way that we sort of differentiate self from other, and when uh, you know, when the enmeshment bond is questioned, then there's, like, this really big internal backlash that happens. And of course, because we're humans, we sort of take those initial imprints of the way that we deal with and attach and communicate with other people and sort of overlay them. So I think that whether it's FI6 or not, I am definitely very sensitive to people being mean to me, and, like even people I fucking love, like Eric. Like, I mean, Rachel, you know how much I love you and Eric, but if Eric yells at me, like, I'm not saying I'm done with him forever, but that is the end of the conversation. Like, I don't care how much I love you. That it's just, and it's not even that, like, I think it's necessarily wrong. It's just that being yelled at, it literally triggers me, and I'm fucking useless. I can't participate in a conversation with somebody's yelling because I just go back to that, you know, little Lou that existed, that doesn't really know what to do and just needs to take a few minutes to get back into a calm environment and recalibrate before I can even think. So yeah. Oh my God, the Senex stage of life and wisdom. I don't know about that. I don't feel very fucking wise. Like, I'm great at knowing some things, and I'm definitely better for other people than I am for myself. Almost 100% of the time. Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad you get it. I'm just particular to that. And I've been lucky in that, like, the times that I've, like, had partners, like Andrew, like, I mean, Andrew and I never fought, which is just obviously not good. Like, we rarely even disagreed, which I think is probably more an indicator that, you know, one or both of us weren't 100% showing up in that relationship, which makes sense because we were kids and we didn't fucking know. But I'm just lucky that, like, the people that I have been super tight with, most of them, especially the people that I, like, have cohabitated with, which, you know, there's only been a couple, but they're not fighty people. Definitely not Enneagram 8. I'm not sure what anybody's tri-type would be, but I would say I don't think I don't think any one of the three partners that I've ever had. I'd be surprised if any of them had 8 even in their tri-type. Um, Maybe, but I mean, yeah, I mean, like, I'm not gonna spend any time later thinking about that OPS person. Was it OPS? Whatever, OSP, or, you know, I'm not gonna spend any time. Oop, wrong way. I'm not gonna spend any time, like, worrying about their statements or anything like that, or anything. But in the moment, I definitely. I mean, it's kind of like somebody coming over and being kind of mean to you in your own house, which is just not okay. Can you guys still read that? I don't know why. I don't know how to do the thing that makes that look better. And I'm pretty sure that other people have this, like, transparent in the background so that it's just, like, words that float. I don't know how to do that, though. So, yeah, and, like, I hope I didn't make them feel unwelcome because, like, it's also, and this is something that I definitely realized that I kind of struggle with since, you know, even engaging in chats or being in streams, because, you know, talking with famous people is the first time I ever really went to a stream, I think. Definitely the first one I ever participated in. I don't even think I realized that the chat thing was there for quite some time. But I sometimes struggle to understand people's intent with the words that they use because I feel like I'm missing most of the information that I usually actually rely on. Because I feel like it's actually very often very much not about the actual words that people are using, and it's all about the everything else that people are giving you along with the words that they're choosing to use. And so I do feel more than, like, uh, yeah, I feel more than, like, blindfolded. You know, I feel blindfolded and like I've got ear covers on, trying to just understand what somebody's meaning is purely from text. Um, and it may also be that, like, you know, that I think right before I noticed that person, that they uh, that I'd been talking about getting that hateful comment. So, you know, it's hard to say, like, was I just bringing my own tone to the words? And, like, the words that they were using weren't awful. Um, but there was definitely a lack of civility, I guess. Like, it, but maybe they were just kidding. Maybe, you know, like, that's the thing, is, like, they're a complete stranger. I don't know. So, yeah, I don't know. Had you researched, followed Eric for a while before the type session? Sort of, but not really. I think his page had been recommended to me before by the algorithm, and I tried to watch tried to watch a couple of them, and had really not. It was too fast. It was too smart. It was a level that I wasn't at yet. And then it was like, the algorithm kept just bringing it back around to me, and I was like, 5-hour video? Who's got time for a 5-hour video? But then, so I was a little resistant because I don't know, because I'm me, and I'm just resistant to new things in general, I think, maybe naturally a little bit. But then once I started listening, I probably only listened to streams for a couple weeks, and I don't even think I ever listened live. I would kind of listen after the fact, or I feel like maybe at that point in time maybe there were also just like, I don't know if there were clips that he was pulling out of live streams, or if he was also making shorter videos that were like just this about this type, or all of the things about this one slot, or like more like educational, informational videos. And so watched a bunch of those. I did not watch any typing sessions, I don't think, because I kind of had an inkling that I wanted to get typed by him. And then once I realized how like no bullshit he was, even though I was kind of scared of that, I also was like, that's what I want. Because like I'd been typed twice before, and let's see, what's that guy? Asura Psych did the first one, and I can't actually remember what type he gave me. It might have been ISFP, but I'm not at all sure about that. I didn't get a recording. I don't think it was recorded, and I don't remember getting an email or anything from him after the fact. And then Amy Y was also typed me, and she typed me as INFJ, but she was a little on the fence, and then she asked me one last question that, like, because she was, I guess, dithering between two types, that she just wasn't sure, and then she asked me, like, one or two last questions, and, I gave answers, and she was like, okay, yeah, that settles it. And then, but it was, like, neither conversation felt definitive enough that I was super, super confident. I did end up, after my session with Eric, because Amy Y, she had kind of like a free follow-up session if you have questions. And so I ended up having my like free follow-up session with her after my session with Eric, which was published, and she actually watched it, apparently. So when I had my follow-up with her, she was actually really solid in it. So that seemed pretty cool. But yeah, so I didn't watch any of the typing sessions in advance, and I did spend some time watching the videos. But yeah, there was probably like close to several months to a year where YouTube kept feeding him to me, and or keep feeding his videos to me, and I'd start watching one and be like, nope, I still don't know what this guy's saying. I need to figure out a little bit more what's going on. And even with that, like, I still don't feel like I understand this shit very well at all. Oh my god, Karma's Pimp is here? Hi, it's so good to see you. Okay, I am behind on this. Could be a male thing too. Feel cold towards most things. You know what's interesting, Winston's mom, is that when I was trying for like a fucking hour and a fucking half to come up with a name to call this stream, when I was still like, do I want to do this today? Do I not want to do this today? Do I want to do this today? And then I was like, okay, well, if I'm going to do it, I have to come up with something. And at one point, what was the title that... It was something about what remains. That Which Remains. Just that title, That Which Remains, came into my mind, and I was like, what the fuck does that mean? How is anybody even gonna like respond to a title like that? So that's interesting, your comment there. Yeah, I wish I could remember what a Sir Psych typed me. I'm pretty sure it wasn't INFJ, but I could be wrong. It was probably okay. One, I actually don't remember when it was, but I think it was probably about a year before Eric, maybe. Because I've been kind of dipping in and out of this. It actually, like, the first time I heard of MBTI was when I started dating after I got divorced. I started dating, doing the online thing. Um, for the first time, and I think it was it called OK Cupid? Yeah. So I was on one of the apps, and I kept seeing these 4 digits or 4 letters that people kept putting in their bios, and I didn't know what any of those letters meant, and so that was actually how I first heard of MBTI. Was yeah, probably when I was like 37, 38. So yeah, about a decade ago. Oh, Jesus. Fucking time. Hmm. He didn't want to Does that say he didn't want to publish? Interesting. Oh my god, the garden. Well, it's dark now. I'll have to show you guys another day. It's pretty good this year. Like the weather this summer here in Portland has been significantly nicer than last summer by my standards. I know a lot of people who really love the heat who are very sad that it hasn't been hotter this year. But like there a couple of weeks ago it was like in the 70s for the better part of the week. This week it's in like the high 70s to low 80s, and if it does get up to like the 85, 86, it's only for like an hour and a half during the day, and then the rest of the day is just in the high 70s, and it's been getting cool every night, which is awesome. So the garden has been pretty poppin'. The artichokes didn't do very well this year, but there were a couple of really late frosts after they'd started their like early spring growth spurt. They were like the greens were probably like this big, and then we got a couple of late frosts and it just died all the way back. So it's the plant seems to be fine, but it wasn't a very good year for production. The fucking yarrow has just kind of the yarrow, the catnip, the borage kind of has just like popped up all over the place in the yard, and I sort of like transplants. Like I think there's something particularly I know I overuse this word, but I do think there's something magical about like when a plant just that you didn't plant just shows up, and so I have a tendency to want to keep those guys, but I am gonna have to rein it in at some point because it is also kind of getting to the time of year where it's just been so dry for so long that it's getting a little crunchy. Yeah, it is, like at some point, I don't really know how to do it yet. And it'll probably be a growing or a learning curve that you guys are just going to have to bear with me on. But I would like to, just stream from my phone sometimes. And, that way I can bring you guys around and sort of show you a little bit better. I think that my phone would probably get a better signal away from the Wi-Fi than my computer would. Because there's like the front garden here, which I mean, none of this, like the whole house, it's not like it's a huge lot. Like it's really not. Like I don't even think it's like 1/8 of an acre. It's very, very small. But like there's a little space in the front, then there's down on the verge on the side of the street, and I put a couple of planters out there that are mostly not doing a whole lot right now. And then there's the side garden on this side of the house. And then there's the yard in the back. And in the back, there wasn't a garden for a long time because there was that gigantic fucking tree there. And so it was mostly just shaded and like around the borders. But then, the last few years, without that tree being there, the last couple of years without the tree being there, the backyard just really gets blasted by sun because that's west, so that's east. And so it gets all of that like first thing in the morning sun. So it's a great place to grow things. And yeah, it didn't do like in 2021. I went really like over the top with the garden, and like just grew a shit ton of food. Like I brought peas to all of the neighbors. I brought beans to all of the neighbors. I don't even know all of the neighbors. I was just like, who can I foist these off on? Every time I leave the house to go hang out with friends, I'd have some sort of food with me from the garden. And I didn't really go that bananas with it this year. I mean, the artichokes, but they're perennial. And then what else have I got going out there? Sorry, I'm having a hot flash and it is intense. What else? Oh, these little muskmelons that kind of look like cantaloupes, but they're like tiny cantaloupes, and they're very very sweet. I think they're called like sugar cube melons or something like that. And I have those. I have some in the back, some in the front, and some in the other spot in the front. And the one in the back, there's gonna be one melon that's gonna be like ready soon if the squirrels don't get it. Like, and that's the thing that's funny is because like. The lengths I have to go just for plants to survive sometimes. Not all of them. But like when there's sunflowers, like I have, I'll show you this sometime. I show you guys this sometimes too. But so when there's a sunflower, I don't know that I'll do this in the future, but in the past I've started them inside and then transplanted them outside. And then when you transplant them, it's like the squirrels can smell them. They're like, oh, that's a sunflower. And rather than waiting for sunflowers to like, get big so they can have all of the seeds, they'll just like eat them when they're babies. So I have like every time my housemate or myself would get a plastic water bottle, I would keep it, and then you just kind of cut off the bottom and the top, so that way you have a little collar from them that just gives them a little time, because like once they've rooted themselves for the most part and they've been there for a little bit, then the squirrels will ignore them until they get huge and the actual seeds start to come out. Hi, Mr. Man. But yeah, there were lots that didn't survive. So, and it's the same thing with the muskmelons. Like last year, I had like a series of just random things that once the melons would start to form, I kept finding them that they would like chew them off when they weren't even ripe, and then like take 3 bites of them and discard them. And I was like, I kept finding them all over the yard, and it made me so sad. And so yeah, I have now just a variety of things that I kind of put around on top of the muskmelons, so the squirrels can't eat them before I get a chance to enjoy at least 1 or 2. But yeah. Sorry, I haven't, I've been ignoring this. Yeah, that Witcher Means, it was a good one. You just noticed the title page, yeah. I really just struggled, really. Hmm. Oof. 2.5 weeks, that's a really, really long heat wave. Yeah, I've been watching. As I've been really enjoying the beautiful weather here, I've been, seeing what's going on in the rest of the country and just feeling really, really sad for everybody else. It's really, really brutal in so many places. Um, yeah, there was this one, like literally, Boba. Speaking of seeds riding the wind, there's like so there have been what else? The St. John's wort seems to propagate pretty easily, and I planted like a 1 or 2. I planted 2, and then a whole bunch of just popped up. There are some garlics just growing next to the walkway that have been there for years. Every year I harvest most of them, but then trying to leave the rest, and they're elephant garlics. I never planted them. I mean, I have planted garlic before, but not there and not that varietal. And what are you doing? And the woman who lived here for a few years before me um, is someone I used to know, and she also had no idea where they came from. So I'm like, what, did somebody like fucking drop a garlic on the way from the car to the front door after getting groceries one day? And like, here we are 9 years later. It's very interesting. Um, Oh, have a great night, Miss Fortune. Thank you so much for coming by. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, weeds are pretty. I mean, some weeds are pretty. Like, I'm not 100% sure if what I'm about to say is accurate, so, grain of salt. But I feel like the actual definition of a weed is completely subjective. And that if you, for example, have a personal distaste for roses, and yet there's roses growing in your yard, I think you can actually refer to those as a weed, because I think a weed is just a plant that you don't want growing where it's growing. Like I said, I don't know if that's true. That may just be my personal interpretation. But regardless, like, yeah, I mean, sometimes the things that you don't plant are beautiful. Like, I mean, meadows, kind of known for being pretty and largely untended and just sort of gifted by nature. Um, do you have any suggestions on what to do when one gets a hot flash at night? Oh, girl, I sure as fuck wish I did. Okay, so I'm 48 now. Definitely, like, pretty much all the way, like, menopausal, maybe postmenopausal. I started having hot flashes in my, like, early mid-30s, only at night. I never had one during the day until just a few years ago, but I would periodically get them at night, like night sweats. And honestly, aside of having a fan going and periodically, like, just whipping off all of the blankets and having that fan going, and then, of course, like, 3 minutes later being fucking freezing because you're covered in sweat and you have no blankets and there's a fan blowing on you, that's my method. I don't really think it's a good one. I'm sure that there are other things that would work. I feel like a friend of mine tried this stuff called maca. I think it's MACA, maybe 2 C's, but maybe just one. And I believe that it's a root. And I think she started taking it because her naturopath recommended that it might be helpful for hot flashes. But I don't remember if she ever did it, and I don't remember if it worked, and I completely forgot that it even existed until just now, so I've never actually tried it myself. Yeah, they are okay. Sorry, I'm still behind in the chat, but yeah, the sunflowers one, they are so badass, and at some point I will put this. I'll find this video in my phone and put it up on a short, even though it's a few years old. But a couple of years ago, I have a couple of them this year, but a few years ago I had just more success with growing a bunch of the mammoth sunflowers. So they're like 12 feet tall with these giant heads. And oh my god, I got pictures or video of birds flying in and like just kind of like in flight getting some of the seeds. I have a video of squirrels doing some pretty interesting acrobats, like literally climbing the stalk like Jack and the fucking Beanstalk. And then like hanging upside down from the head, because there's a point where that giant head just gets so heavy it just tips itself forward, and so yeah, squirrel literally like hanging underneath, or crawling underneath, grabbing a squirrel, then climbing back on, or grabbing a seed then climbing back on top to sit on top of it. It was pretty fucking adorable. So at some point I'm gonna have to find that. The seeds do make a healthy snack. I don't think I've eaten any of them myself. I think the birds and the squirrels pretty much got all of them, which honestly, aside of the fact that they're pretty, is pretty much why I plant them, so that's fine. Be right back. Hey! Cut that shit. You know that powder. Go on, get. Mr. Man, that is the orange cat's name, the foster kitty, and I don't know if you guys could even just hear that, but he's just such a dink to Smoochin'. And Moochin is my sweet, sweet baby, and she's also an old lady. She's like 10 years old now. I'm gonna catch her. She's gonna hate it, but I'm gonna do it. Come here, baby. And this is my little cutie. She's very shy. Yep, she's done. Yeah. But yeah, she's kind of an old lady now, and so Mr. Man never actually like physically attacks her. I've never actually seen them make contact, but he intimidates her and chases her and scares her, and then she kind of backs herself into a corner and yells at him, which just, she's very yelly. Are you kidding me, Boba? You had to Google hot flash? Damn. I wish I could say the same. Yeah, I did not have the same experience as my mother either, although she still says that she gets hot flashes every now and again, which sucks because she's 22 years older than me. And I don't want to be having hot flashes for the next 22 years, should I survive that long. That sounds just awful. Vitamin E and vitamin supplement. Interesting. Oh my god, they tried playing with the bunnies? That's cute. Yeah, I like watching them play too, and I think it's especially adorable when it's the time of year where there's a bunch of little like baby squirrelies that are just starting to come out of the tree for the first time because they'll chase each other just without ever leaving the tree, just chase each other up and down the trunk of the tree. And I don't know, for some reason I think it's just really, really endearing. Sometimes it makes me nervous when they wrestle because I'm afraid they're going to hurt each other. Yeah, the orange tabby is a foster, so it's a him. Basically, I got cat hair in my mouth. He showed up like, oh my god, it's been almost a year. It was like August or September last year, and probably September, because it was when Terrell was my housemate, and guys, stop it! You're such a fucker. Mr. Man, he is aptly named. But yeah, so there's just a cat that was very like, I mean, he was meow meow meow, just meowing up a storm in the alley behind the house, and so Terrell fed him. Well, and I was complicit. We both fed him. And of course, then he never left. And for the first 2 days, he just literally talked. Like the second day, and he wasn't even in the house yet. It was just in the yard, but he's pretty loud. And like there was at one point when Terrell and I were both trying to work from home, her upstairs, me down here, and we both had to like put on music because he was just really just talking just nonstop. And he does like to announce himself when he comes into a room. But yeah, so anyways, he just showed up and never left. And I found out a couple of weeks after that he's actually my neighbor's cat. Like not my house that's next to me or the one that's next to that, but the one that's next to that. And they had adopted him from the SPCA, and it wasn't a good matchup. I don't really need to go into all the details, but they didn't really bond, and then the cat just got out one day and ran away, didn't come back. And it took him like 6 weeks to get the like 700 feet to my house from 3 doors down, however far it is. Yeah, so I really would like to rehome him. It breaks my fucking heart to see my sweet baby kitten, my little Moo Moo, look scared whenever she goes outside. And, like, I don't know, he bullies her basically, and it just makes me sad. So like I don't want to surrender him back to the SPCA. Uh, I'm trying to avoid that. What would be ideal is if he, like, I don't think he would readjust well to being an indoor cat again. You know, he comes and goes as he pleases and does not seem to like it the times that I've tried to keep him inside. So I don't think he would adjust very well to being just an indoor cat again. So he would do best someplace where he has access to the outside, where maybe there's not another cat, or if there is another cat, it's a male cat rather than a female. And because I think a male cat, they would, you know, they're, yeah, I think it would probably work better. But yeah, he needs his forever home. No, he's not a tomcat. He's fixed. He's from the SPCA, so they, you know, they did fix him and all that good stuff. And he, from what I understand, is probably about 4.5 now. I think he's originally from Texas. I'm not sure how he got from Texas to Oregon, but I know that the SPCA and the Humane Society does sometimes transfer animals from one place to another. I tried to put a bell on him, or tried to put a collar on him, and he kind of freaked out, and then I wimped out and didn't try again. Muchen, I also cannot put a collar on. When I first adopted her, oh my god, it was the sweetest thing. So I got her from the Humane Society too in 2000. I don't know. It was like 10 years ago. And I actually went to adopt a dog. And there was one dog that was, you know, within the parameters I was looking for, and it seemed pretty sweet, but it definitely wasn't like an instant, like, heart match. And then I was like, I should just look at the cats to be sure. And I'd had cats before. Like, I grew up with dogs, never even really liked cats until Andrew talked me into getting one right before we got married. And then from then on, I was kind of a cat person. And I'd had this one cat that had, you know, died tragically a few months before I got Muchen. So I initially didn't want another cat because it just was so heartbreaking when I lost her. And so, yeah, so that's why I was going to get a dog. But then I decided to go look at the cats just to make sure. And there was this one, oh, hi, Melty. There was this one tiny little black cat, and she'd just gotten her, just been fixed. So she had the little collar on, but it was a little floppy collar, you know, rather than like the ones that like actually stand out. It was just a floppy collar, and she was really small. So it was like bigger around and than she was tall. So basically what would happen is every few steps she would accidentally step on the front of her little neck collar and fucking face plant herself. And I was like, oh girl, we need each other. It was really, really, really cute. It wouldn't be cruel to relocate him if it was a good match. And that's, you know, like, I'm honestly, I really would like my friend Emily to take him, except I don't think that she will. But because when Emily came over, he was like just, I mean, she was only here for like 5 hours, and I don't think he even left her sight. Like, there was an instant bond, and they just really, really got on great. But I mean, you'd say that they mellow it after the fixing, but he's already fixed. Like, he's already been fixed. Like, that, I mean, this is apparently him more mellow. And, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to do about it. Like, I mean, I do, you know, it's been the better part of a year. Like, of course I care about him. Like, he's wonderful. I just want him to be in a place, well, I want him to be with a person that is going to fully open their heart to him. Like, I feel like he deserves a people, and I wish that I could find the right people for him. You know, I don't know, a friend of a friend seemed pretty enamored of the stories I was telling about him and the pictures, and has a young male cat who's very playful and wants a friend. And Mr. Man is pretty playful. So I'm hoping, I don't know, this friend was going to check with their housemate and sort of, get back to me and see if that was a thing. But I didn't even ask this person. They were like, oh, you have a cat? And then we started talking about it. So I'm hoping that I can sort of like organically find a place for him that will be better suited, particularly with the caveat that if it doesn't work out, he'll come back to me to try again. Because I mean, there are no-kill shelters. I think especially if after having had so much freedom for so long, I don't know that he would adjust well to being in a small cage, and I don't think that that would be the best way for him to put his personality forward to get himself adopted. So, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's basically what Mr. Man did too, is just kind of muscled his way into being adopted. Like, I didn't start letting him into the house. I literally would bring his food down to the sidewalk in front of the neighbor's house to feed him. Which, I mean, obviously he knew where I was, so he knew where it was coming from, but I tried to get him to not claim this space as his territory, and the only place that I've had success, and this is very shameful on my part, is he doesn't get on my bed. On top of my bed is the one place that Moochin is allowed to sleep that he is not allowed to sleep. So that's literally like, and it's not even a big bed, it's just a fucking double. So like I failed at keeping him from coming into the yard. I failed at keeping him from coming into the house and making himself part of the family. And yeah, but pretty much he does not get to sleep on top of the bed. He has several beds elsewhere, but he doesn't get to sleep there. He still starts in with Capillo, Mr. Man. I mean, Trouble. Yeah, exactly. How old is Capillo, Rachel? Yeah, sometime I'll stream for you guys during the day and I'll leave the door open, and you'll see probably squirrels and cats come and go. Well, probably not Moochin, because like I said, she's pretty shy most of the time. But yeah, I'm curious how old Capillo is, because the Moochin's definitely in the same mood. Like she just, she don't want to play, and when she does want to play, it's very much like on her terms and for a few minutes, and is definitely not like as rough and tumble. A third cat started showing up a few days ago, but it's got a full-on, it doesn't have a name collar on, but it's got a bell on a collar, and it also has one of those things for opening an automatic cat door. And 6 or 7, yep. So obviously this cat is not homeless, and I only see it for a little while during the day, so I think it just pretty much comes by to annoy Moochin, play with Mr. Man, and get snacks for me. And also, I don't know if I mentioned it before, but one of the other things that grows pretty prolifically in the yard is catnip. So it's my own fucking fault. It's my own fault. Yeah. Yeah, there was this other stray cat years ago. I think I called that one Man Kitty. It was a guy, or a boy cat, and he was definitely feral. Like, I saw him for months, and before he'd even let me get within like 15 feet of him. So I don't know if he was born feral or if he became that way, but he was not interested in becoming domesticated fully, and I haven't seen him in like a year and a half, so I prefer to think that he's been adopted into some home. Yeah, it's definitely stinky. The catnip, like I can tell even if I'm just walking, through the yard and I brush it, I can smell it. It is kind of a pungent smell, not unpleasant, um, but and of course, I mean it's in the mint family, so it grows pretty prolifically. Um, that's a good way. Yeah, that is a good way of putting a boba, like truly muscled in. And like Mr. Man's big too. Like he's definitely not the biggest cat I've ever seen. And like Jonathan's cat, the Maine Coon is probably bigger, but for a tabby, he's a pretty big, pretty muscly cat. And he's also like both of his fangs, actually like when his mouth is closed, both of his fangs like still come out. So he's got giant teeth. Oh, sorry, there's a helicopter. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but it's annoyingly loud. What? Mimics felines? Interesting. Huh. Interesting. So, hmm. Because I've seen plenty of female cats also respond to it. Yeah, chocolate mint is good. I had to kind of cut some back because it's mint. It does its thing, and I need to cut back. I've got a few different kinds of mint. I've got chocolate mint, pineapple mint, just like regular mint, and then some. I used to have some spearmint, but the spearmint might have been kind of taken over by the mint. Um, yeah, after have you like wait? Are you talking about the candy or the drink? What is that drink called? Is it an after eight? I don't know. When I was a lot younger and drank a lot less because I live backwards. Um, there used to be this one drink, like on occasion I would have a drink and it would either be a mudslide because it's kind of like a milkshake, which you guys know is totally my jam, or there was another one called like maybe it was an after six or an after five. I don't know, but it was Kahlua, Bailey's, and peppermint schnapps, and that was a pretty tasty little drink. Just a little one. You wouldn't want a full glass of it. But oh, you do mean the chocolates? Yeah, I used to love those when I was a kid. What's your favorite if it's not mint and chocolate? Do you like mint and or chocolate and fruit? How does everybody feel about that? I feel like that's a divisive thing for some people. Um, like Andrew, my ex-husband, he sounds weird to even say those words, but he liked chocolate well enough, and really liked chocolate and peanut butter, but chocolate and any kind of fruit was like anathema to him. Like no fucking way. Giffords. Where's Giffords? Mmm. Yeah. Like they are the after eights. Those slim ones are like the creme de menthe. Um, you know what else is good are the Andes candies. Andes candies with the chocolate mint. There's this kind of cookie I used to make. I probably will make again, but it's basically just like a chocolate ball, and then you bake it, and then as soon as you take it out of the oven, you put an Andes candies on top and let it melt. Wait, is Giffords the place that has the custard? Is that the place that has the custard? Where in Maine is it? Do you remember? I feel like it's really. I'm definitely. Yeah, that's definitely familiar. Ooh, marzipan's one. Yeah, like the frozen custard, which I guess the only difference between ice cream and frozen custard is the frozen custard has egg in it. Um, I don't know that I've ever had the marzipan's one, but I will tell you right now, I'd probably disagree about marzipan sucking because like there's this fancy ass candy shop in Exeter, New Hampshire called the Chocolatier, and that's what Exeter's near the town that I grew up in. and is the town that I went to high school in. It's a pretty small town. And so, like, you know, when there's not a whole lot to do when you're a teenager, especially before you drive. So, you know, a lot of times when kids would just go downtown, walk downtown, and, you know, go loiter at the shops, basically. And there's this place called the Chocolatier that's a really nice candy store. Very small. It's been around, I mean, super long time. Definitely still there because my mom sends me stuff from there for Christmas every year. And one of the things that she sends me is the marzipans, which it's pretty much just like marzipan paste and covered with dark chocolate, but like really high quality dark chocolate. And those are awesome. Every time I've tried to get marzipan chocolates like from a store like mass produced, it's just not very good. But something about this place, maybe because they're just made in small batches and so they don't sit around for a long time, so they don't get really dry. I don't know what it is. They do something fucking magical to it. Andy's Candies has flavors? Holy shit. No word of a lie, I never fucking knew that. I really just thought, like, Andy's Candies was Andy's Candies. Like, you know, it's like chocolate and green. Oh, yeah. Waterville and Portland. Okay, yeah, I think that I probably have been there before. I don't know. Honestly, I think I mentioned it to you the other night in the stream, but Putnam Pantry was always my favorite place to get ice cream when I was a kid, because Putnam's Pantry was this place that was like both a candy shop and an ice cream shop, but they had a fucking buffet bar. So you would basically be like, I would like blah 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 ice cream. I always got chocolate because I'm basic like that. And then they'd give you a bowl with the ice cream in it, and then there would be a bar with like, I don't know, I was kind of young when I went there, so I was about to say 50 different toppings. It probably wasn't a full 50. Oh, shit. Hopefully my computer won't die.